educators implement effective instructional practices to ensure high levels of learning for each and every student. We were at a 2. I don't think we have D yet.
No.
And I think some groups might have C, but I don't think it's really strong.
No, I don't think so either, and it's, yeah.
So I don't feel comfortable marking those. Are there things that we haven't done? I mean, that we have highlighted that we don't do anymore? I don't think we can change that one. This one we were a 2.
We did that, not last year. What was the year where we had that 30 minutes of time?
Mm-hmm.
Was that last year?
2 years ago.
We had 30 minutes where we taught. It was when when we had a more like teacher quality team that met way more often.
Right.
Whatever that year was.
That was
Not
2 years
last year,
ago.
2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
We definitely did those things.
Yeah,
At that time. We don't do that anymore.
And these are those, like, the elementary, I sent those out. They were like briefs, and you guys spent like the first 30 minutes of your collaborative time talking about the brief that you had read. It was a brief about like assessment for learning, and then there was one about teaching for learner differences. And so those 5 characteristics, each of those had a summary of what that was with a bibliography at the end of it. But that was 2 years ago. But I don't know how effective, I don't know if everybody in the district did that or not.
We did it at the high school. That was 2 years ago. In middle school, we did that, but I don't. Just like you, I remember teaching for understanding,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember teaching for learner differences.
Mm-hmm.
But then beyond that, I'm not really sure if we focus on all of the things. Oh, formative assessments, we did that one.
Yeah, assessment for learning.
But the other 2 things, like you, I'm kind of vague.
I can't remember what they are right now
What they
either.
are, and so I'm questioning if we even
Yeah.
had time to do those.
And again, that, I mean, the word study, I don't think we studied them. I think that we skimmed them. I think we people just had access to it. I mean, they just
Yeah.
had an opportunity to quickly look at it. I don't think that anybody actually studied assessment for learning, or any, I don't think as a district we actually studied those and reflected upon that in comparison to what we do at Highland.
So we're gonna go back to a
Well-
0?
Well, it looks like it says they're like different degrees because 4 is only D is in place. Does that mean all of them have to be in place? Because on D you reflect on what you have studied. In A you just study them. In
Well-
B you study the briefs and the definitions.
And this happened before I got here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So then if we haven't done it since then,
Right.
Yeah.
are we really saying that we're not doing it?
It looks like A you just look at the definitions.
You know?
B you look
Yeah.
at definitions and briefs. C
Right.
you look at definitions, briefs, and literature reviews.
Right.
And D you reflect on all of that.
Right, and
With
we've only
that
done those
learning.
first 2. And
Yeah.
then people who came in, new hires in
After.
the last 2 years haven't got it.
So that's.
And what's the goal of this document? Is it to say that we're looking at this every year?
Of the self-study document.
Well, like when if the goal is to be at a 4 on every one of these, does it say we did it, or does it say it's an ongoing thing that you're constantly focusing on it?
It is what they want is for the Iowa Core to be fully implemented. That means that we understand characteristics of effective instruction, that we've reflected on how we compare to those, and we've made changes to make sure that we're actually teaching for learner differences, actually using assessment for learning, actually, I mean, so it's not just a do it, it's they want us to be living it.
I understand that. I just sometimes when I think about it goes back to all the initiatives now we've discussed.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're back up to 25 initiatives. Like I just try to figure how other districts are making it all work. What are they doing that we're not? That's how I feel because
Well, you can't do all of it.
Right.
Yeah, you can't do all of it. I mean, we'll have to pick. This, like I said, it's a lifetime of work.
Yeah.
we'll have to pick what it is.
Yeah, because you could
That we
spend
wanna
a whole
focus
year
on.
on formative.
You could spend 5 years on
I don't know.
formative assessment, yeah. If you really wanna internalize that.
But when I hear us say,
Knowledge.
we say things like, well, this will be a focus for next year, but we also have like about 5 focuses from this year that'll still be for next, you know what I mean? Cause,
Oh, when I say that this might be a focus,
Uh-huh.
like when I said that on that other one,
mhm.
that's if this, because we're gonna have to determine which action steps we wanna take to move us farther along the path of Iowa core implementation.
Right,
We don't have to do them all. We'll just say this is what we really wanna focus on to make sure that we're moving forward. It doesn't have to be this.
okay.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be this one. We can ignore this one. We didn't do anything with this one this time.
What's, I mean, I like talking about effective instruction.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
It's all good.
So I think that one's pretty much just stuck where it's at.
Yeah.
Engage in dialogue about practices that support the characteristics. We haven't done this either.
No.
I need some plan.
Leadership team facilitates a process to determine the degree to which practices that align with the characteristics that are in place in classroom instruction. There are actually rubrics for each of the 5 characteristics of effective instruction that we could use. Like if a teacher went and observed another teacher, they could then have dialogue and look at this rubric and see where they fall in the rubric and what they need to do to be stronger and more effective with that characteristic. So those things are in place, but I don't think we're ready for them yet.
Yeah, if you don't even have a plan in place for how to get teachers to observe. the
Right.
children.
So I don't think we can do much with this, because we're not at that point yet. Leadership team makes decisions about how to strengthen its professional development plans based on the Iowa Professional Development Model. The only thing whatever we plan for next year, whatever we decide to do with professional development next year, this might be a focus when we say we really want to tell everybody what the TQ team has decided or what,
Yeah.
what's going on.
That's the plan.
But I don't think we can do that yet. I don't think we've really
No.
done that.